All right, here we go. I don't know why, but YouTube is messing with my stream. Or maybe it's just the internet. I don't know. But let's go to. I want to share my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay. Because I wanted to watch what's happening right now in current events and go over who exactly is Chaldea, the daughter of Chaldea, and the daughter of Babylon. Okay, so start this video.
Now to the Trump administration's legal battle over the deportation of hundreds of Venezuelan migrants. A federal judge demanding an explanation as to why the government ignored his order blocking the deportations and to turn around the planes that had already taken off. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, is tracking the latest. Rachel, good morning.
Wait, good morning to you. And this showdown between the White House and the courts only escalating this morning. The administration tried to get this.
Sorry about my internet. Sorry about my Wi-Fi, y'all. It's acting up, but let's try and fix this and see.
Now to the Trump administration's legal battle over the deportation of hundreds of Venezuelan migrants. A federal judge demanding an explanation as to why the government ignored his order blocking the deportations and to turn around the planes that had already taken off. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, is tracking the latest. Rachel, good morning.
Wait, good morning to you. And this showdown between the White House and the courts only escalating this morning. The administration tried to get this hearing canceled, even calling for the judge to be removed, but they were forced to show up and explain their actions. Overnight, a federal judge hauling the Trump administration back into a courtroom, demanding to know why those deportation flights landed in El Salvador when he ordered that they be turned around. The administration claims the men on board were members of criminal gangs. Many were deported under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which allows the government to deport people with little to no due process, and was last used to round up Japanese Americans during World War II.
He has gotten rid of them a lot. There are a lot more to go.
As those two planes were in the air, that federal judge James Boasberg, speaking from the bench, ordering the planes to return to the United States immediately. But that did not happen. The White House offering several explanations. The press secretary raising questions about the way that order was given.
Well, there's actually questions about whether a verbal order carries the same weight as a legal order, as a written order.
But the judge not buying that, calling it a, quote, heck of a stretch, and also pushing back on the administration's claims that the order didn't apply because the planes had crossed into international waters. The judge stating, my equitable powers are pretty clear that they do not lapse at the water's edge. The architect of the president's immigration policy, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, question whether judges have the authority to rule over the president's policies at all.
Is it the administration's understanding that you would comply with the verbal order?
No district court judge who presides over just some small, little geography of the whole country could possibly presume to have the authority to direct the expulsion of terrorists from our soil, who, by the way, are also here illegally.
The White House has not released the identities of those deported or extensive details on their alleged crimes. The Justice Department lawyers refuse to provide any additional information to support their claims, insisting it would pose a national security risk. Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee accusing the Trump administration of an unlawful brazen power grab. But border czar Tom Homan defiant.
We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care we're coming.
So there was a third deportation flight that took off.
So, yep, they are setting up around the country and they are performing prophecy. They are performing prophecy. Let me go to the Bible verse. Isaiah 13 is what I want to read because it's Isaiah 13 and 14 that tells us about prophecy. It tells us, I'm going to start in verse 1. And let me go click into sharing. Then I got to share this page. All right. In Isaiah 13, verse 1, the word tells us the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. All right. So this is the burden of Babylon that the prophet Isaiah is seeing. And Isaiah is commanded to exalt his voice unto them, shake the hand, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Right? I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger. Even them that rejoice in my highness. The Most High is calling all of the Most High's people in verse 3. In verse 4, it says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yah of hosts musters the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of Yah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travails. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yah comes, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of Yah of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. This right here is prophecy. Every man return to their own land. And the Most High also tells us that he will return Israel, our people, to our own land. That is also prophecy. So this is the prophecy we're living out. We are living out the prophecy of the latter days, when every man shall return back to their own land. And this has happened after every captivity in Israel. We would return back, or attempt to go back, throughout the word, throughout scripture. And so we read on in verse 15. Sorry, I'm looking for something else. Okay, I'll have to go back to that. All right, so in verse 15 it says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Elohim overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So we look at where it tells us Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. I've never heard of another country that was the ruler of other nations, a great kingdom. I've never heard of any other great kingdom called beautiful other than America. America the Beautiful. And it's the same name that was given to Babylon, or the Chaldees, the Chaldeans. Excellency, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. Babylon the Great, the mighty nation, right? I know of no other empire on this earth today that is greater than America. The whole world says it. Now, things are changing. Things are changing because other nations are rising up. But all this time, it's always been America, the beautiful, America, the great nation, that superpower, right? And verse 20 says, "It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there," or satyrs. "And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged." So that's just Isaiah 13, right? However, that is the MO of Babylon. Babylon is also used synonymously with Chaldea. And let's look up what Babylon means. So if you look up the word Babylon, the Greek meaning is literally the gate of the god, or gate of the gods, right? And I don't know of any time when we were practicing righteousness in Israel that we ever had any gate of the gods or worshiped many gods in our righteousness. It was the other nations. That's their MO, to worship many gods. That was never for us as a nation to worship idols. Even though we started to join other nations and worship their idols. In Hebrew, Babylon means confusion. So by knowing that, these meanings, knowing these meanings and understanding that these places that are named, these geographic locations on the earth, on the globe, can all be used synonymously. Every kingdom that's been on this earth has been Babylon. You have Israel, the kingdom of Israel, and then the rest of the kingdoms were Babylon. Because Babylon is a mixture of things, it's a melting pot. Babylon is confusion, it's chaos, there's no order. It is idol worship, idolatry, right? Just like Egypt means bondage. Babylon represents idolatry. And when we understand that we as a people in our nation did not, well, we're not supposed to practice idolatry, is when we will truly understand what's happening in America today. So you have these names, for Babylon. And we know that uh, Babylon can be used from all of these great nations that stood up against Israel and against the Most High. Most importantly, we know that all of them are Babylon. So when you go to Isaiah 47, you understand verse 1, where it tells us, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." So you mean to tell me that Babylon has a daughter? Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Chaldea has a daughter. For you shall no more be called tender and delicate. So this daughter of Babylon, or daughter of the Chaldea, is known to be tender and delicate. And I would say that most people in the world, most melanated people, would say that the most tender and delicate people of the world are white, is America, or something that is white, because they see that as tender and as delicate. But they see everyone else as savage and bad. That is also starting to change, however, because our people are waking up to who we are. So that's starting to change as well. But Babylon, this whole time, has had the world tricked and bamboozled into thinking that it is a lady or it is civilized, when in fact that's a complete lie. We all should know that. So verse 2 tells us, "Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover your locks." And of course, uncover your locks here is used as an idiom. It's an expression as to say that you're uncovering something. Because then it says, "Make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers." To uncover itself. Your nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, your shame shall be seen. And that is exactly what is being witnessed in America today. Is shame is being seen by the world. "I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man." So the Most High is telling this daughter of Babylon that he will not meet it as a man, because the Most High is greater than man. With man, you can make peace treaties and reconcile. You can negotiate, make deals, join forces, go to battle, because man is predictable. But with the Most High is not predictable. So what you're seeing may look confusing because the Most High is not a man. In verse 4, it says, "As for our Redeemer, Yah of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit you silent and get you into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For you shall no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. And who else is called the Lady of Kingdoms other than America? European nations. That bloodline is called the Lady of Kingdoms because it's seen as noble, civilized, well behaved, always with manners, right? In verse 6, it says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into your hand. So, what nation? Because if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know who they are? If you haven't read Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, then how can you understand who the people that are oppressing you are? You can't, because you won't see things. You won't understand it. If you don't understand who you are, you can't understand who someone else is. So the Most High tells us he was wroth with his people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into your hand. So what nation was given into another man's hand? Everybody knows it was black people. It was us, our people. Through the whole slave trade, the four corners of the earth, we were scattered. The Most High said he has given us, he gave us into the hand into the daughters of the Chaldeans, or the daughters of Babylon. And you did show them no mercy, is what the Most High says. You did not show them mercy. Upon the ancient have you very heavily laid your yoke. Upon the ancient, the old, the elders. You could see that with Trump talking about taking away Social Security for the elders. Like, come on. They don't care about elders or children. And verse 7 says, and you said, I shall be a lady forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart. So they didn't even consider, they didn't even care, because they said, we're going to be ladies forever. We are going to be great forever. People are going to bow to us forever. Okay? So that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. They didn't even think about the end, because they were so high on pride and arrogance. And in verse 8, it tells us, therefore, hear now this, you that are given to pleasures, that dwell carelessly, that say in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. This is how deep the arrogant goes. The arrogance flows. They call themselves God. And that's not something that we should be copying. In verse 9, it tells us, but these two things shall come to you in a moment, in one day: the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon you in their perfection, for the multitude of your sorceries, and for the great abundance of your enchantments. For you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, none see me. No one sees me. That's what you have said, and your wisdom and your knowledge, it has perverted you. And you have said in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon you. You shall not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon you. You shall not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon you suddenly, which you shall not know. Verse 12 says, stand now with your enchantments and with the multitude of your sorceries, wherein you have labored from your youth, if so be you shall be able to profit. If so, you may prevail. And of course, we know that would never happen. In verse 13, it says, because it hasn't happened yet. They can't use the Pope or anybody that's what we consider high up or in a position of power. They can't use any of them to stop what is coming. None of them can. Verse 13 says, you are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from these things that shall come upon you. Verse 14 says, behold, they shall be a stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto you with whom you have labored, even your merchants from your youth. They shall wander, everyone to his quarter, and none shall save you. America. So then we go. So what's the name of Yah? Gave his people, gave our people according to Genesis. Okay. In Daniel 1, you look at Daniel 1, And everything that you read about Babylon in the word is the MO of every great empire that has risen and fallen. Every empire that's ruled the kingdoms, ruled the nations, I should say, because it is the king, ruled the nations, right? And you look at Babylon and you'll see similarities between Babylon and the daughter of Babylon, which is America. And you can put two and two together and you can figure out what's happening. When you go to Daniel 1, verse 1, there's another description of Babylon where it says, in the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. Now, of course, we know that this is back in the Babylonian captivity era when the Hebrews were in captivity in Babylon for 70 years. But of course, every Babylon has the same characteristics. When they rise and when they fall, before they fall. Same characteristics. Then you go to verse 2, and it says, and Yah gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of Elohim, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his idol. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his idol. Every Babylon does this. They all have an idol that they uphold. Every great empire that rises and falls has an idol that it forces the people to bow to. It's usually a man. And in verse 3, it says, and the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and the king's seed and of the princes. So he's wanting the children of Israel, but listen to what he's wanting the children of Israel for. Hold on. In verse 4, it says, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, in whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. This is what they do. This is their MO. This is what they did when we were in slavery. This transatlantic slavery. They did the same thing. They took of us the greatest inventors, masters of many skills, knowledge of science and math. They took the most talented of our people. They always have done this. This is how they operate. This is their MO. And then they steal it and they take it as their own, and then they take it and take all the credit for it. So then you go to verse 5, and it says, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. And it goes on and on and on. And it talks about when Daniel wanted pulse instead of the king's meat because he didn't want to defile himself. We practice fasting. That's what we do. We eat healthy. We eat fruits and vegetables. We love fruits and vegetables, right? That's just our people. That's how our people are. And then we go to Daniel 3 and we find more evidence we find more evidence that shows us exactly who the daughter of Babylon is, and who Babylon is, and what Babylon is, and what Babylon represents. In Daniel 3, verse 1, it says, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold. Here it is right here, right? He made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Verse 2, then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the princes to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, O nations and languages, O people, nations and languages. Check this out. That at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. So it's a common practice for Babylon to set up an idol for everyone to bow down and to worship. In verse 6, it says, and whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. That sounds like worshiping the Christ of the New Testament, where if you don't bow down and you don't worship him and you don't give your heart to him, you will burn in hell. In verse 7, it says, therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Verse 8 says, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews or the Hebrews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. This is before the New Testament. Way before the New Testament. So he says anybody who's not going to worship the king in his image will get burned up. And that is why we should know our history, because if we don't, we will definitely repeat it. But see, now, instead of physically throwing you into a fire, they have you spiritually tied up, enslaved, spiritually shackled to their God. Let me see, Ezekiel 12. And the Most High is talking about what shall come to pass for Israel. But that is not what I was looking for. I want to stay on track with Babylon. That's a good chapter 2. But that's just speaking of Israel. No vision prolonged. I guess it kind of ties into it, because it's speaking of our current time that we're living in. When the Most High tells us in Ezekiel 12, the word of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, you dwell in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not. They have ears to hear and hear not, for they are a rebellious house. Therefore, you, son of man, prepare you stuff for removing, and remove by day in their sight. And you shall remove from your place to another place in their sight. It may be they will consider, though they be a rebellious house. In verse 4 it says, Then shall you bring forth your stuff by day in their sight, as stuff for removing, and you shall go forth at even in their sight, as they that go forth into captivity. Dig you through the wall in their sight, and carry out thereby. In their sight shall you bear it upon your shoulders, and carry it forth in the twilight. You shall cover your face, and you that you see not the ground, for I have set you for a sign unto the house of Israel. So Isaiah is supposed to, or Ezekiel is supposed to perform these things in the sight of Israel. And in verse 7 it says, And I did so as I was commanded. I brought forth my stuff by day as stuff for captivity, and in the even I digged through the wall with my hand. I brought it forth in the twilight, and I bear it upon my shoulder in their sight. And in the morning came the word of Yah unto me, saying, Son of man, have not the house of Israel, the rebellious house, said unto you, What are you doing? What doest you? In verse 10 it says, Say you unto them, Thus saith Yah Elohim, this burden concerns the prince of in Jerusalem and all the house of Israel that are among them. Say, I am your sign, like as I have done, so shall it be done unto them. They shall remove and go into captivity, and the prince that is among them shall bear upon his shoulder in the twilight and shall go forth. They shall dig through the wall to carry out thereby. He shall cover his face, that he see not the ground with his eyes. My net also will I spread upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare. And I will bring him to Babylon. Oh, there it is again. I will bring him to Babylon, to the land of the Chaldeans, yet shall he not see it, though he shall die there. In verse 14, and I will scatter toward every wind all that are about him to help him, and all his bands, and I will draw out the sword after them. And they shall know that I am Yah, when I shall scatter them among the nations and disperse them in the country. So this is speaking of future tense. This is speaking of what we're living in today, right? And verse 16, it says, but I will leave a few men of them from the sword, from the famine, and from the pestilence, that they may declare all their abominations among the heathen where they come, or whither they come, and they shall. Moreover, the word of Yah came to me, saying, Son of man, eat your bread with quaking, and drink your water with trembling and with carefulness. And say unto the people of the land, Thus saith Yah Elohim of the inhabitants of Jerusalem and of the land of Israel, they shall eat their bread with carefulness, and drink their water with astonishment, that her land may be desolate from all that is therein, because of the violence of them, of all them that dwell therein. In verse 20. And this is another reason. This is why we have to stop what we're doing. We have to stop committing abominations before the Most High. Stop killing each other. Stop doing all of these things to hurt one another. And stop hurting, most importantly, stop hurting our Creator, our Elohim, the one who's chosen us, the one who has created us. We have to turn back to the Most High. It's as simple as that. We have to. Because if we don't, the Most High is going to perform these things on us. The Most High has sent his wrath to Israel more than once. On 20, verse 20, it says, And the cities that are inhabited shall be laid waste, and the land shall be desolate. And you shall know that I am Yah. And the word of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that you have in the land of Israel, saying, The days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? So what are we talking about when it's talking about the days are prolonged? Well, it's talking about in verse 25, it tells you, For I am Yah, I will speak and speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith Yah. So when it tells us the proverb that was once in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand. Oh no, wrong verse, verse 22, where it says, the days are prolonged. The proverb that you have in the land of Israel, saying the days are prolonged. It's talking about the Most High prolonging the days of action, performing the word. So the days are prolonged, and every vision fails. So what are we talking about with the vision? What is the vision? Well, the vision is in verse 24, where it says, For there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. Right? So that is the vain vision. The visions that fail, because the only vision comes from the Most High. The only real, true vision comes from the Creator, the Most High, our God, the God of Israel. That's our power. And it tells us in verse 23, Tell them, therefore, thus saith Yah Elohim, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. Because we used to have uh, open visions, but we no longer have open visions. Because if you go to 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1, it tells us, and the child Samuel ministered unto Yah before Eli, and the word of Yah was precious in those days. There was no open vision. An open vision is, simply put, a vision that comes directly from the Creator. The Most High speaks directly to you without you having to dream a dream. And anything that the Most High says affects the whole world. It affects the world. It affects nations. And there was no open vision in that time in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. And that's the same type of time we're living in right now. No open vision. But we live in a time of vain vision. We dream dreams. Our sons and daughters dream dreams. But we don't have anyone that has come to us that we know of as a whole with an open vision that says, thus saith Yah, or thus saith the Lord, or thus saith the Creator. With an open vision that came straight from the Creator. Not even face to face, but in a trance. You're still awake and you're having a vision like that's so Raven. And it affects nations. It affects the world. We know of no one like that. We've heard of people say, I had a dream. I had a dream. I have a dream. But in verse 24, it says, for there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am Yah, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith Yah Elohim. In verse 26 it says, and the word of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the visions that he sees is for many days to come. And he prophesies of the times that are far off. Therefore, say unto them, thus saith Yah Elohim, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith Yah Elohim. And those are the times that we're living in. The times when the Most High is performing the word, prophecy, performing what the Most High said he would perform. So then we go to Ezekiel 23. You can't see. Let me just turn to Ezekiel 23 and back in that. Oh, there we go. It came up. All right. So Ezekiel 23 gives us it's verse 14, I believe, where the Most High is speaking to Israel. Because when you go to the beginning, Son of Man, there were two women, the daughters of one another. They committed whoredoms in Egypt, and they committed whoredoms. Okay. So this is talking about. Let me go down, 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 down. Hmm. This is not talking about Israel, the land of their nativity. Mm. Oh, it's talking about Samaria and Jerusalem. Okay, it is referring to Jerusalem as well. Samaria. Mm-hmm. And for when she saw men portrayed upon the wall, the images of the Chaldeans portrayed, we started joining unto the other nations and worshiping their images, wanting to be like the other nations. That's like the MO of Israel, right? That is the MO of Israel, wanting to be like everyone else. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Habakkuk 16. No, I mean Habakkuk 1 and not there. There we go. So Habakkuk 1. Let's go there. Habakkuk 1. And it says in verse 1, the burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. O Yah, how long shall I cry, and you will not hear? Even cry out unto you of violence, and you will not save. Why dost thou show me iniquity? Why do you show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Therefore, the law is slacked, and judgment does never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore, wrong judgment proceeds. And this is exactly what's happening today. Today, wickedness surrounds the good people. And good people are taken advantage of. And good people are seen in this world as weak, not strong. That is how the good is seen in a world where the wicked rules. because they're few in number. So, therefore, wrong judgment proceeds. Verse 5 says, "Behold, ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days, which you will not believe, though it be told you. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs." I mean, who does that sound like? It's the same MO. They rise up, bitter and hasty, march through the breadth of the land, and possess the places that are not theirs. It's called conquering, right? Verse 7 says, "They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves." Their horses are also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. And a lot of times they are referred to as the eagle. Well, a couple of times, I should say. And it's Deuteronomy 28 and 49 that tells us, "The Most High shall bring a nation against us from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue you shall not understand." So that right there, and we all know who the eagle symbolizes today. We all know who that bird, which nation takes pride in the eagle. That's not a mystery. Mystery Babylon is not a mystery. Then you go to verse 9 and it says, "They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand." They shall sup up. That means they're going to eat everything up that you have, then take everything and eat everything up that you have and that you've had. And verse 10 says, "And they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it." They even took the dust. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his God. So, in other words, he is going to give all the credit and power to his God. He's going to have his God in one hand and a sword in the other hand. And he's going to say his God has done this. Verse 12 says, "Are you not from everlasting, O Yah, my Elohim, my Holy One? We shall not die, O Yah, You have ordained them for judgment. And Almighty Elohim, you have established them for correction. Right? You are of purer eyes than to behold evil, and cannot look on iniquity. Wherefore, lookest you upon them that deal treacherously, and hold your tongue, when the wicked devour the man that is more righteous than he, and make men as fishes of the sea, as the creeping things that have no ruler over them. They take up all of them with the angle, they catch them in their net, and gather them in their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net and burn incense unto their drag, because they by them their portion is fat, and their meat plenteous. But because of your work and because of your dedication, you don't burn incense and worship things that are not the creator. In verse 17, it says, shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continually to slay the nations? And I don't know anybody else, I don't know any other nation that has those traits other than America. And that whole bloodline going back to Europe. That is the empire that we are under. We are still currently living under the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire did not fall yet. We are still under the Roman Empire. There's just been a change of power. But their kings and their dignity and all that comes of themselves. It always has. And that is what you're supposed to do. Now, you're not supposed to be evil in the world and take over and get other nations to be your slave forever and bow down to idols and commit idolatry and things, horrible abominations against the Most High. You're not supposed to do that. But your kings are supposed to come of your people. They're supposed to. Just like our kings are supposed to come of our people. So we have Habakkuk 1, which I just read the whole thing. And then we're going to go to, did I read Isaiah 47 already? I think so. Isaiah 48. Isaiah 48 and 13. Yeah. Yeah, let's look at Isaiah 48. Isaiah 48. So we look, and you remember when I was saying that all of the Babylons, all of the empires that have ruled have set up an idol. This is how they get control of the masses as well, through their religion. So they've set up an idol. See, the Most High doesn't need religion. The Most High comes back as the creator, the God of all things. The Most High brings the hurricanes. The Most High brings the tsunamis. The Most High brings the tornadoes. The Most High brings the fire. The Most High brings everything. The Most High doesn't need a religion to bring anything or to establish anything. That's what man needs to establish, right? And to gain power over the masses. And every Babylon that has risen and fallen has done this. This is the MO of a great empire. They always bring their religion, their God, their idol, and force you, even though you don't have to, but attempt to force you to worship their idol. That is what they do. Flood the markets with their idol. And you can tell what the most popular idol is today just by looking at the most practiced religion on planet Earth today. So then you go to verse 1 of chapter 48, and it says, "Hear you this, O house of Jacob, which are called by the name of Israel, and are come forth out of the waters of Judah, which swear by the name of Yah, and make mention of the Elohim of Israel, but not in truth, nor in righteousness." Right? So you hear of Hebrews, you think you know about Hebrews because you hear them on the street corners shouting at the people and telling women to wear pants, to not wear pants, and all those things. But you don't understand those are Hebrews, but they're not practicing the laws of the Creator. They are practicing Christianity, just like most people today. They just make Christ black, but they worship Christ just like everyone else, and they call him Yeshua. They'll tell you that. They're worshiping the same God as everyone else in the world right now. Being a Hebrew Israelite is not about a religion. It's literally a bloodline. I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, the Arab man, you can't, the Arab men do this and the Arab men, that would be ridiculous. Or the Chinese man do this and the Chinese, that would be ridiculous, because we know that everyone is not a monolith. So being a Hebrew is about who we are, our bloodline as a people. So we go to verse 2, and verse 2 says, "For they call themselves of the holy city and stay themselves upon the Elohim of Israel. Yah of hosts is his name." Verse 3 says, "I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them. I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. Because I knew that you are obstinate, and your neck is as iron, sinew, and your brow brass. I have even from the beginning declared it to you." Hold on, y'all. Let me go inside this room real quick, because we got someone saying that my voice is carrying and they don't want to get thrown out. So let me get my stuff. And all right, hold up. Okay. So, like I was saying, um verse 5, I have even from the beginning declared it to you before it came to pass. I showed it you, lest you should say, my idol has done them, and my graven image and molten image has commanded them. You have heard, see all this, and will not ye declare it? I have showed you new things from this time, even hidden things, and you did not know them. They are created now and not from the beginning. So let's just go back really quick to verse 5, where it says, my idol, lest you say, my idol has done them, and my graven image and my molten image has commanded them. Again, the Most High is telling you that there is none else beside the Creator. You have heard, see all this, and will not ye declare it? I have showed you or shown you new things from this time, even hidden things, and you did not know them. They are created now and not from the beginning, even before the day when you heard them not. Lest you should say, behold, I knew them. Yeah, you heard not. Yeah, you knew not. Yeah, from that time that your ear was not open, for I knew that you would deal very treacherously, and was called a transgressor from the womb. For my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain for you, that I cut you not off. Behold, I have refined you, but not with silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction. For my own sake, even for my own sake, will I do it. For how should my name be polluted, and I will not give my glory unto another? Hearken unto me, O Jacob, and Israel, my called. I am he, I am the first, I also am the last. My hand also has laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has spanned the heavens. When I call unto them, they stand up together. So, this is not something that Christ in the New Testament can say that he has done. This is only something that the Creator can say that he has done. Period. No one else can say this but the Most High. So, this knocks out the idols of all time right here. Verse 14 says, all ye assemble yourselves and hear which among them have declared these things. Yah has loved him. He will do his pleasure on Babylon, and his arm shall be on the Chaldeans. There's that word again, the Chaldeans, which is used synonymously with Babylon, which can be interpreted as confusion or idolatry. So we see right here that idolatry is not something that the Most High plays with at all. Putting anything before the Most High, bowing down and worshiping anything before the Creator is death, choosing death over life. So much so, the Most High